Ken, we've often talked about how these tractors, the open station and the cab version of the 3 and the 4 series, are a lot different from each other, more than the specs actually show.
Definitely more than the spec show in the operating position and the way the controls work.
Yeah, and so what we're going to do in this episode is try to quantify some of this stuff, right? So we're going to show you some actual differences, riding position, operating the joystick, operating of the 3-point hitch. A lot of these are significant differences. I don't think this is as easy a decision between these two machines as what it might appear.
It's not as easy as it might appear, correct.
And so we're going to show you those measurements. We're also going to compare with the 4R tractor. If you're not interested in the 3 series or the 4 series tractor, this is not the video for you. I don't want to waste your time. Go watch one of our action videos. I get it. But I think we're going to show you something that no one else on YouTube, not the manufacturer, no other YouTubers are going to show this type of information.
Right.
And Ken owns a cab 3. I own an open station 3. We've debated about this a good bit, and we think this is important.
I do too, especially in the operating controls, because they're dramatically different.
Dramatically different.
Yes.
Let's get started. Now, science on Tractor Time with Tim is never perfect, right? I mean, we always have some compromises. It's hard to measure things just absolutely perfectly, but what we've got here is a luggage scale. I think in a previous episode I promised a fish scale, but...
fish scale would... I don't think a fish scale for the cab tractors would work.
He's giving away the end results.
I am.
But so this luggage scale, I think the good part of the luggage scale is the handle here. I mean the strap, right? It's got this strap built in.
Right.
And we're going to try to get it in the same position.
Right.
Again, there's a little bit of...
So that's where your hand rests. So that's about... So in this case, you're going to be pushing with your thumb.
Yeah.
Right? And that's right where the strap is. So I think that's a pretty accurate...
We're going to test all 4 directions. We've got a digital readout. It's not sophisticated enough to really read it for us, so we're going to have to make some... We'll either give you a pretty exact number or a range on each one.
Range within a half a pound.
But we're going to test forward, we're going to test tilt, curl, and we'll test backwards.
Right.
And given that the same joystick handles are on each tractor,
right.
Even though it's not precision, I think it's going to end up...
close enough, yeah. It's close enough for what we're trying to illustrate. It's close enough. Yeah.
And we are going to see dramatic differences.
Yeah.
So along that line, we can visually show some of this. This joystick is directly connected to the valve.
Yeah, there's heim joints down in the bottom there that move the valve spools up and down. That's the slop here, is the slop in the heim joints and the linkages. So you do have this big lever, which makes the valve easier to move because you have this lever.
And it also exaggerates the slop.
It exaggerates the slop, yes, absolutely.
And on the other machine, it's cable driven. So there's cables that come out of the bottom of the joystick, go all the way under the tractor and loop around.
Yeah, 90-degree turn towards the back, then a quick 180 back to the valve, right over the rear axle.
Okay. And then on the 3-point hitch, that's the other measurement we're going to make from a testing with our scale. You can't see it very well here, but the 3-point hitch lever we're going to test pulling downward, we're going to test pulling upward. What is the minimum amount it takes to pull it the minimal amount, right? Because another thing we're going to be able to see anecdotally is the differences between how fine we can make the movements, right? A lot of time when you're adjusting a 3-point hitch or anything, it's not about how fast it overall moves. It's about how minuscule you can make the movements.
For like a box blade, or
you want to move it a 1/4 inch.
Right. And those differences will be different in things like the stump grinder there, where you only want to move it just a little bit each time.
So we've got a clamp up here to hold the strap where we think the hand would work. Okay, and it was zeroed there, and I'm going to pull this forward until it starts to come down. Now you may not be able to see this. I'm pulling, I'm up to 10 pounds. Now I'm actually moving the cable, I think. Yeah. Okay, looks like about 13 pounds, 15 pounds. 15.
It's moving down, so.
15 to make it go down.
Yeah, 15 pounds, okay.
That's my view. 15 pounds makes it go down. And that's how we're going to do these measurements. I don't want to try to bore you showing you every measurement, but let's show the upside of this one, and then we'll get on with the joystick.
Right, the joystick's 4 directions. That's going to be a little cumbersome to show on video, but we'll have the data to show. So we'll reverse this, start the tractor back up. All right, so we're at 0. We'll start pulling.
27, 28 that time.
That's pretty considerable.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure
So
to have
let's
to
do it
pull
one more
on
time
that.
because I got 25 to 28 as the range there.
All right, let me reset it because it held it. Okay, so I'm back at 0.
$27.5, yeah.
All right, so the goal of this test is to see how little I can move it, correct?
Right.
Trying to make a precise adjustment.
So the very top of the eye match here is somewhere around 36.5. Well, that was pretty
And
good.
it just jumps though, but it doesn't.
1/4 inch maybe?
Yeah, that
Oh,
one.
that was 3/4.
Yeah.
That was, yeah, we're 38 now.
Yeah, that's about as small as I can get it to move. Ah, that was.
I'm
a
pretty
lot.
sure they can see it. Wow, it's 4.5. Yeah, 4.5.
6, 7, 8.
Yep.
All right, about 8.8.
Okay. Try it again.
7, 8.
Yep.
9. That was like 9. 8.4, 8.7, 8.8.
Yep.
About 8.8 again. 0. 7, 7.3, 7.4, 7.3, 7.4. 7.3, 7.5.
The cool thing I'm noticing is that when you do get it to go, you're moving it really smoothly.
Yeah.
Whereas
It's not jerking.
we were jerking it more on the
Yeah.
other one. Now that's not.
All right, let me try one more time here. We do 3, 7.
7.7 or something. Is
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, I got between 7 3/4 and 8 1/4. So
Okay.
I'm gonna call it 8. Now with the 4R, we can't do the rock shaft because it's been replaced with the electronic version. So it would be what? 0.3 pounds. I'm moving it right here with my thumb.
Yeah, ounces.
Yep.
That was like 4 something.
Yep.
It's jerking, so it's very hard to tell, but it was between 4 and 5. There's 5. 5.7, 5.6.
Yep.
That was 6. That
Okay, do it again.
It's just not very smooth.
Yep.
Yeah, so 5.5 to 6.
Yep.
Yeah, see, that was over 6, so it's very inconsistent. Still dramatically less.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it went really fast when it did go.
Yeah.
About
Well,
6.
Yeah, 6 on average, I would say. Yeah. 6.
Yep.
6.
Yep.
It's like almost exactly 6 every time.
Okay. So that one's consistent.
That's very consistent. Yep.
I have to.
Yep. Yep.
I have to move it, not slop, but real movement. It feels like about an inch before
Before it does, yeah.
before it does it. That was 7.9.
Yep.
Takes only about 3 to move the handle, and then
Yep.
5.7 to actually actuate.
Yep.
5.6, that's good. So we're showing you the numbers now on your screen. These are in pounds. and they're pounds of pull with our
Our luggage scale.
luggage scale. So what we've got here is the 3R cab, 3R open station. These were both relatively new tractors. Obviously the open station's a year or so old.
Right.
And the 4R and the 3R are brand new. So what do you see, Ken?
I see a dramatic difference between the 3R and the 4R cabs, number one, and then also a dramatic difference between the 3R cab and the 3R open station.
Yeah.
So the 3R cab is on average 12, 13 pounds. No, let's see,
Yeah.
I'm not good at averages, but 14 for one direction, 11.5 for the other, 12 for another, 11 for another.
It's
So,
a good 50% harder to pull
Yeah.
than this one.
Yeah, the open station, the hardest is 8.8, yeah.
And the 4R cab is even easier to pull than the 3R open station.
Yeah, that's impressive.
So
Yeah.
that means that some of the 3R difficulty could be in the valve itself.
Right,
It might just be a harder pull.
absolutely.
We thought maybe that the cable, the way the cable routing was on the 3R cab, that maybe that was the problem, but this indicates it might
Could be in the valve.
in the valve.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
And the most dramatic to me overall is, of course, you can't go with the 4R cab because of the rock shaft control, but 27.5 pounds to pull the rock shaft on the cab. And you can't, it's very hard to get it smooth.
Yeah. Now this 4R, the 4075R, has the new electronic rock shaft. We
Right.
don't have a 4R here that we could test with the mechanical.
Right.
We would highly recommend that you get the electric rock shaft with your new 4R. It is far and
Yeah.
away nicer.
But that's only available in the 4075, or we don't
It's
know
a
yet?
unique situation. It's in the snow cabs. So work with your dealer
Okay.
to get that right option. I've heard so much conflicting information.
Got it.
It's
So we
hard to
don't
really know.
truly know yet what the
But
options are going to be.
27.5 pounds to raise the rock shaft is more than is reasonable. I mean, there's no way you could work all day with that.
Right. Yeah, if you were box blading your driveway, you'd be worn out.
Yeah, and that's just box blading your driveway. Let's say you were working 8 or 10 hours on a project.
Yeah.
I don't see how you could do it.
Yeah, yeah. Even the loader gets fatiguing after a while.
Yeah, and the rock shaft on the open station is 4.5 pounds, 7.25 pounds the other direction.
Right.
Smooth as can be, easy to move just a little bit. It moves very smoothly.
finite adjustments.
So our point here is that the open station, quite frankly, just works easier,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's just easier to handle the controls, and it's enough easier that before I would buy a cab tractor, you need to drive one. You need to operate the
You need to
loader.
operate the loader. Yeah.
You need to
absolutely.
operate the 3-point hitch. Make sure you can do it, because as much as I love that tractor, that is a big weakness
Right.
of the 3R cab
It
tractor.
is.
Now, Ken, another difference between these machines, we've always thought it was just because of the cab, but the cab tractor is much more tipsy than the open station tractor.
Yeah, the overall height of the cab, the weight up top.
We've always just assumed, I think we've never really had them side by side, been
Right.
able to do any other measurements. We've always just assumed that it was a center of gravity issue.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yes.
And today we've got 2 tractors, exact same tires,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
We've got an open station and a cab side by side. When I was driving this one the last time, I thought, I think the seating position may be a bit lower in this tractor. So
Right.
I'm wondering if they've had to do some changes to get the cab. So let's
Right.
take a look at some details.
Sure.
there. The first thing I noticed, Ken, is that there's a hump on the floorboard here on the open station, but
Yes.
the cab is flat.
The cab is flat, so the cab is raised up higher over the transmission.
It must be, because
be.
that is the transmission there. So
Right.
we've got a reason already to think that the platform may be higher. Let's actually do some measurement.
All right, there's level to the hump.
Yeah. So level to the hump is about 27 inches. Now how about the platform itself? That's
right.
about, what, 24? Yeah, 24 and a piece. 24 and 3/8. Now we've got the air seat on both of these machines, and so when no one's sitting on it, we make sure that it's got plenty of air, that it's pumped all the way up. So again, like most TTWT science, this is the best we can do.
Right, this is to the front of the seat too, that's a little bit higher.
Yeah. So we're seeing you got it pretty much level?
Yes, sir.
46.5 inches
Yep.
to the ground from the front of the seat. I think that's as good as we can do as far
Yeah, you
as...
can't really get back here, and so we'll do it the same on both. So
Yep.
it's 16 1/4.
Okay.
Yeah. 16 1/4 to the top of that step.
Now, what you doing here?
Getting beat by the door because it doesn't have a nice handy door kit on it.
Well, where could you get such a door kit?
Yeah, boltonhooks.com.
Dork kit. I mean,
TTWT 5% discount down level, and you got 27 3/4.
hold it. That's a lot more. That is like the top of the hump, isn't it? I'm
Yeah.
gonna let that beat against you again.
Yep, and that's no hump there. Okay.
Okay, so now you're doing the measurement here, the top of the seat again.
right, the front of the seat.
Again, it's all the way pumped up, and you're about
Yep,
level.
I'm level now.
48.25.
Step height 18 1/2.
Oh my goodness.
So we're going to measure from the floor to the bottom of the steering wheel in both the uppermost position and the lowermost position. That'll kind of tell you about your leg height, here between the seat and the bottom of the steering wheel. So right now we're at 28 1/4.
Okay.
And then, wow, you'd have to have really thin legs, and you'd be right around 24. All the way up and locked. To the bottom is 27. Okay, that is 22 3/4.
Okay, while we're at it, let's do the distance from the seat to the dash. We're all the way back now. Oop, is that the first latch? Okay, but that
Yep,
doesn't
that's the
latch
first
to there.
latch. And that, now interesting on the open station cab, I've seen a lot of people break the keys off with their knees. So the key sticks out further than the dash, so I'm going to measure from the seat to the key. Maybe that's not what you want, but I'm going to say 9 1/4 to the key, and yeah, about 9. So yeah, so this key sticks out about 1/4 inch from the
So 9 1/4,
from the dash. Yeah.
and then to the key it's 9.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move it all the way
I'll move it all the way forward, yeah. So from the dash, wow, that's a little difficult to get in there. So 3 1/4 from the dash, and 3 from the seat
to the key.
to the key. That would be a very uncomfortable driving position.
Well, and you laugh, but for me on this,
It's me too, Christy. We were playing with that before.
I cannot reach. This is where I have to be
Let
to
some
reach.
air.
Well,
you-
let some
that's
air
another
out.
thing. The air thing is not reachable. You got that seat all the way forward?
Oh yeah, yeah, it's not reachable.
And see, my feet,
Interesting.
still don't reach.
Yeah,
But I have to have the seat all the way forward, and then I have to have this back.
right. So
And so I
with
can
me,
reach the
I'm
pedal.
almost in the same position. I have to move my whole leg like this to get the full
I
pedal
could see his
extension.
whole hip
Yes.
moving.
To get the
Yes,
full
I
Yours is
have-
doing the
extension.
same thing? Yeah,
Yeah.
you're doing the
Yes,
same thing.
I
I'm
have-
doing the same thing,
yeah.
and I'm not doing it on there.
And it's very uncomfortable to do that for very
And
long.
then
Oh,
for
yeah,
me,
sure.
I get on this and I go,
And I go, where's the 2?
I
I
get you.
mean, it's got a lot
she
of
loves the
power.
features, the power, that
Yeah,
kind of thing.
but-
The comfort
But it's
for her.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm the
It's-
same. I noticed it too. I
Yeah.
have not really operated one of these at all. So
And then I can't, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just not ergonomic for I'm 5'2",
right,
are
I'm
you-
5'8"-ish. Yeah, 5'8".
Oh, okay.
5'7", 5'8".
so
Yeah, but I think he's kind of the opposite of me. He's got a taller torso, and shorter legs. I have almost all leg and no torso.
and I have
Short
short
everything.
everything.
Okay, is the seat all the way back now? Yes, it is. Well, I don't have to worry about the key here. Yeah, that's 9 1/2.
Okay, 9 1/2 back.
Go ahead, pull. 3 1/2. The best thing we compromised on to measure the pedal distance from the operator, because we feel that they're different between the cab and the open station, is we're going to measure from the center of the seat back, which would be, where you're sitting, right at your back, to the go pedal. So we're going to put a level in front of the go pedal.
That's the back pedal.
Right, in front of the
Go
go pedal, right? That's what I meant. And then I'm going to measure to the back side, or the side of the level here that's touching, and I'm at 33 inches. And that's with the seat all the way back. Okay, do we want to do the seat forward?
Sure.
And 28 inches. And another interesting note again on this machine, when the seat's forward, it's almost impossible to reach the seat adjustment knob on the air seat anyway, from the seated position. Yeah, the entire seating position and control position feels more comfortable in the cab. When I'm sitting in the open station, and Christy as well, it's a real stretch to reach the pedals. You have to move the seat farther forward, and then the steering wheel's right in your face.
I could not disagree more.
Right.
Yeah, but you're 6 foot tall.
Right, so I'm about 5'7", 5'8", depending on shoes.
You know, I do
Whatever.
have sympathy for the designers. I mean, think about it. Christy's 5'2", I'm 6 foot.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to fit both of us?
Supposed to fit everybody, right?
That's hard.
Very hard. And then, you know, just body size, you know? I mean, I'm certainly not skinny, but there's a lot of larger people that have to fit in these too. So we're going to do the pedal measurements on the open station now. So on the open station here, we're in the middle of the seat back there. It's got the level, and we are at 36 3/4. And level, and 31 inches.
We just found another feature difference between the open station and the cab that's in favor of the open station. I have the air ride seat on my open station. This cab version has the air ride seat as well. But this has the fore and aft slide mechanism. And I find this to be a wonderful feature. This allows you to get rid of a little bit of that sharpness when you hit a forward bump, right? So I can hit bumps and I can slide just a little bit. I find that to be incredible. The cab version does not have that. Now, if you don't like the fore and aft slide feature, you can lock it out here. If you get it positioned just right and pull that lever, you can lock it. But you can open it up inward and have that slide. So the broad difference between the cab and the open station is all the cabled controls.
Yeah.
Let's make a quiz for ourselves and see if we can name them. The easy one's the joystick. Next easy one's the rock shaft. We've even measured the weight difference on those.
Yes,
and that's
yes.
probably the only ones that the weight difference really matters on.
The diff lock engagement on the cabs, it's a cable. On the open station, it's a mechanical rod and a bell crank to the transmission.
Yeah.
The
PTO?
The PTO selection, and you won't have this on every machine if you don't have the mid PTO option, but these machines both have that. So we have a lever that selects the mid PTO, the rear PTO, or both.
And that's in a different position.
Yeah.
On the cab tractor, it's up here right beside your 3-point hitch control.
Right.
On the open station tractor, it's down here. I like the location of it on the cab tractor, but I like the feel of it much better on the open station.
Yeah, it's very clunky on the open station, but it goes to the same place on the transmission. Next up is the parking brake. This lever pulls a rod, which pulls a bell crank right on the side of the transmission. On the 3R cab, it operates a lever. You pull the lever, and it operates a cable that goes down to a bell crank on the transmission. So again,
Probably doesn't matter on that one.
probably
so
doesn't
much.
matter on the parking brake or the diff lock pedal.
Probably
Two
not.
features.
Maybe the diff lock.
Yeah.
We did have the diff lock come disconnected on Old Salty.
We did. We repaired that yesterday, and we found out that the four-wheel drive lever came disconnected on Old Salty.
Yes, that's
we
right.
lost four-wheel drive.
So that gets us to the next one. The four-wheel drive lever is cable connected on the cab.
It is cable connected. That's correct.
And it's direct.
Because it's next to the steering wheel.
And it's direct here.
Right. And we learned that the diff lock on there didn't work. We fixed that yesterday.
Yeah,
as part of
it had got frozen
part of
up on
our
Old Salty.
broken tractor series.
I like the four-wheel drive lever being up here,
It's very convenient.
but again, I don't like it being cabled. It just doesn't have the same feel. I suppose those that you do only occasionally is not a big deal to have them cabled, but it's a little bit of a soft feel or something. You don't feel like it's totally
It's not as
direct.
positive of an engagement when you don't have that direct mechanical connection.
Okay, are there any more cabled connections? Have we missed any?
I don't believe so, Tim. The
believe-
joystick, the four-wheel drive, the rock shaft, the parking brake, the diff lock pedal are all cable.
The gear
options.
shift is direct in both cases.
Yes.
The other aspects that we found are the higher seating position in the cab version. I think that's
Yes.
contributing to the instability of the cab version.
Yep. And the pedals further away from the back of the seat.
On the open station.
on the open station.
So you have more leg room. Let's just simplify that. You have more leg room on the open station.
Right.
On the negative side, if you are vertically challenged, then you have too much leg room.
It is more uncomfortable, yeah.
Not enough flexibility with the seat. Another thing we should illustrate with the seat here, if you do take it all the way forward, you can't reach the air pump up button. It's way down there.
Right. And that's
Nor-
on both machines.
Nor can you reach the diff lock pedal very easily.
Right, because it's way under the seat. Yeah, way back under the seat.
Even though the seat, and then once you're all the way forward, we found that you only have about 3 inches of clearance on both machines.
And we also believe, we haven't found a way to quite quantify it, but we believe that this console shape here, the cowling around the steering wheel, is wider here. So your legs are further apart when you're sitting closer to the steering wheel for the
and
shorter
that's
people.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But it's definitely wider here. We can see that they've had to widen the hood since the 3X20 tractors.
Right.
And inside the cab, they did not widen it. So there's a definite setback inside the cab for that section, and that's made this all narrower. Huge differences in these machines.
More than you think initially. You think it's just a cab sitting on here, but it's completely different operator station, and everything from here back is different.
Capabilities, we feel like they're about the same. I mean, we've operated both of these.
Yeah.
We're not having it. The only lack of capability on the cab tractor is indeed that stability.
Right, and you can fix that with wheel spacers. John Deere doesn't always approve of them on the 3s, but most people do run them. They did, interestingly, they don't on the 3Rs, but interestingly enough, they did on the 3X20s. They approved of spacers, so not sure what changed in the transmissions for that, but most people do run 2-3-inch spacers with no issues. I've seen people run 6-inch spacers, which to me seems a little bit excessive, but you can also flip the tires around, or depending on the wheels, if you have the ag tires, you get eight
positions on the ag tires.
Yeah.
I don't think you can use the innermost 1 or 2, but anyway, it's an 8-position tire.
Okay.
One of the biggest items that I think you can do to help with stability is rim guard in the tires. Rim guard and wheel weights, I think, essentially are mandatory on the 3R cab tractors. I really don't feel comfortable. And people say, hey, you add weight, everything. Yes, you need the weight on these tractors anyway for their capabilities.
Right.
We have found in the last couple of days working in the mud with our loaders that all of our tractors, even with rear ballast, seem too light in the rear end.
Yeah, the mud weighs so much that we're still light on the rear end, especially when we're trying to back out of the ramps that Tim built.
Yeah.
There's just no weight on the rear. All the weight goes down on the front, and you really do feel it.
And you can see it in our videos. Go back and watch that video if you'd like to, or some of those videos where we use these little tractors getting that mud out of the pond.
Some cases we're dragging the bucket on the front just to keep weight.
And we know that's not optimal.
Yeah.
So I think that summarizes most of our changes that we've seen in these 3Rs.
I think so.
If you don't like the joystick handling on the cab,
I just thought of one other thing. If you have a small barn or an older barn, you may not have, or a garage, you may not have the height for a cab tractor. Whereas this, you have the foldable ROPS. So in some cases, in the operating places you need to work, you may not be able to use the cab because of the height. You need 8 feet, a good 8 feet.
That's true.
For the cab.
On the contrary, the ROP, when it is raised, is higher than the cab.
Okay, interesting. I did not know that.
But you can take it down, like you said.
Yeah, then you're only at this height or so. Yeah.
In summary, if you love the 3R tractor, but you really want a cab version, and that difficult joystick and difficult rock shaft movement is causing you difficulty, I would suggest maybe you take a look at the 4R. Right, you could look at the 4044, 4052. You're in the same horsepower range,
right?
And you can get the electronic 3-point hitch if you get the right configuration in each of those.
You get the nicer joystick control.
For whatever reason, it just works smoother.
And you get a little bit wider platform that feels on your butt more stable. It just feels like a more stable machine.
It solves all of the problems of the 3R.
Yeah.
With the one thing that you lose, and that's turning radius.
Yes, that's
the
true.
The 3R's turning radius is
amazing.
unmatched in any tractor this size. You cannot get a 45 horsepower tractor that turns as short as a 3R. I would challenge anyone to a duel on turning radius for that. It'd be fun.
It is
actually. If you've got something, let us know in the comments, and we'll have a turning radius.
Yeah, there we go. Turning radius rodeo.
Rodeo. There you go.
We'll meet at the fairgrounds.
Ken, thank you for joining
Tim,
us.
it's been enjoyable.
3 days he's had to put up with me.
4. I've had to put up with him.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Yeah, it's been
But you're still standing and you're still smiling, at least on camera.
Yes, I am still smiling. It's been a great trip, and I appreciate the hospitality of Christy and you.
Indiana pork tenderloin. Your how many stars do you give it?
I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Yeah, it was good. It was good. Well, I got to compare. I got to go to different restaurants and compare.
What would you give a Maryland crab cake?
I'm not a huge seafood eater, so I'll give it a 6 out of 10.
Oh.
Yeah, I can take it or leave it. Crab cake.
Hope you guys enjoyed this. We've had a barrel of fun. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on Tractor Time with Tim. Many, Lord my God, are the wonders you have done, the things you have planned for us. None can compare with you. Were I to speak and tell of your deeds, they would be too many to declare.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And if I did that, I have driven it sitting, not even using the seat, just like this.
Right. And
And
to operate safely, you can't because you wouldn't be activating the seat switch.
Yeah, she has that problem on a lot of other
yeah, there's times where I can't start a tractor because I can't get it. I'm not heavy enough.